A federal judge says Elon Musk and his Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE, may not have had the authority to make sweeping cuts at the United States Agency for International Development, or USAID. The judge in Maryland says those cuts, quote, likely violated the United States Constitution in multiple ways. He ordered operations be partially restored, including restoring employee email access. CBS News White House reporter Aaron Navarro is in our D.C. bureau covering this. So, Aaron, what's next for USAID and its employees?
Yeah, Lindsay, good to be with you. I've been in touch with a few USAID employees who were reinstated today, and they're kind of caught up in the whiplash on this. But we also know of an email sent today by Peter Marocco, the deputy administrator designate at USAID, announcing he is going back to his role at the State Department, and in his place is DOGE employee Jeremy Lewin and Kenneth Jackson, a senior State Department official involved with the agency's dismantling. Secretary Rubio remains the overall acting head of the agency. Marocco also wrote that USAID, which has been gutted, as you know, in recent months, is, quote, under control, accountable, and stable. He also notes the next phase of foreign assistance from the agency is underway. And that ruling last night that you mentioned took issue with the people making the cuts at USAID not having the correct authority. It seems that today's move is a way to grant more authority directly to DOGE representatives who had already been involved in shutting down the agency.
So a federal judge ordered the rehiring last week of more than 24,000 federal workers across 18 government agencies. What does this mean for President Trump and Musk's efforts to shrink the federal government?
Yeah, while talking about judges overall, White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt noted it is slow walking the administration's agenda a bit. While the administration filed an appeal of this and is hoping an appeals court could reverse the reinstating of these employees. But that ruling shows legal issues with how DOGE has worked to eliminate employees, and that individual assessments are needed instead of these broad nets of terminations. Who is ultimately the vessel responsible for cutting these workers as another wrench this ruling throws into DOGE's efforts. The Office of Personnel Management, kind of the federal government's HR wing, have been used to direct terminations of probationary employees across these agencies. The judge says they lack the authority to do so, and the White House has said DOGE doesn't make unilateral decisions. So how DOGE gets its goals done and who exactly executes it potentially within these agencies is now even more legally fraught.
I got to be quick with you on this last one, but the ousted leader of the U.S. Institute of Peace filed a lawsuit overnight asking a judge to order a halt to the Trump administration's dismantling of the group. What can you tell us?
Yeah, last Friday, President Trump essentially replaced the entire board of USIP. And after that, and instituting a new president, these representatives tried to get access into the building. They were rejected. They tried again on Monday with law enforcement and were able to get in. And staffers within USIP has said in a lawsuit that they are trying to shut down the agency, get access to personnel, and order a cutoff of USIP funds. The White House maintains that USIP did not comply within the executive order for it to be reduced to its minimum presence.
Aaron Navarro, thank you.